Hello, hello, it's Rebekka. I am coming at you today to talk about the end of the year and the end of the year anxiety that maybe we're all feeling. First of all, sorry I didn't have a video last week. I had a bit of a roach infestation. Yeah, I had roaches in my space and it was the nastiest thing I've ever dealt with and the most psychologically draining. I think I was already a little fractured and delicate feeling the last 2 weeks, and it didn't help that like all my physical anxiety somehow manifested in these bugs that I then had to kill through many chemical means. Also, hello new followers, there's like 5 of you. Some of you I've known for a while, some of you are absolutely new, but thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. December is really hard. So December is just like this moment that, first of all, I feel like I woke up in December and was like halfway over. And now it's just this countdown to the end of the year, and we all have this realization we didn't become like the superhumans we thought we were gonna be, and like we don't all have like 23 abs and an Oscar. Like those are the kinds of goals we always set. Last year I had this moment and I thought I was gonna be the Martha Stewart of calendar planning, and I was just like, I wanted to become a fucking art workhorse. That was my goal. The goals I set were really good, but they were very long-term goals. They were like character and personal development that's really gonna take a lot longer than a year and isn't something you're gonna be able to mechanically create for yourself. On my list, I had like prioritizing my creative time. I really wanted sort of like a longer form animated project under my belt. I wanted a graphic novel pitch. I wanted to be treating my body way better and, I don't know, join the cult of like the gym, save all the fucking puppies that are legally sold up in Manhattan. I was gonna do it all, and it did not turn out that way, but it didn't turn out bad. It did not turn out bad. And frankly, I don't think we got it all done. I'm just gonna speak for all of us sitting here just biting our nails over the end of the year and how we think we failed. We did not fail. The end of the year shouldn't be a time when we're like, oh my god, I just like failed at life, I didn't do any of my goals, etc., etc. Because frankly, we were set up to fail from the very beginning. The entire idea of New Year's resolutions is just a crock of shit. And we shouldn't do it. Like, it just is not good for us. But you know, I think there are things that we can do to set ourselves up for a more successful year where we don't come back next December just sad that we aren't perfect, which is really what we're doing, right? It's like you're basically like D&D creating a character that you ideally want to be and achieve, and I just don't think we are built to achieve what we want the way that we think we need to set it up. Does that make sense? It doesn't. What I see, and I see in myself and I see in other people, is that we want everything all at once. We don't want to do the little things, and I think the little things matter so much. So, what can we do to get closer to our goals and not overshoot? Number 1 would definitely be, don't make New Year's resolutions. You know, you're not gonna be a whole new person on January 1st. You're not gonna have the discipline all of a sudden. You're not gonna suddenly, you know, we just make these plans like we're gonna be entirely new people. Like we're just gonna like take our exoskeletons off. I've been thinking a lot about bugs. Taking our exoskeletons off, and there's just like this beautiful creature is gonna just crawl out of this like gross, slimy slug exterior that we've really been cultivating in this year of 2018. We have to work with what we have right in this very moment. We do this thing where we build things from the ceiling down instead of the ground up. Is that a saying that we say? And this is a problem because, first of all, you're setting your ceiling, and if that's your goal, you're gonna hit it, and then you're like, that's fine. I don't need to grow anymore. It's like whatever. And also, if you set the ceiling, it's like you're just bound like life happens and you're bound to feel disappointed in yourself in a very deep way if you don't hit that goal. So this thought line is definitely sort of being influenced by books like Kick-Ass with Mel Robbins or other book, The 5-Second Rule, and this book I read called The Power of the Habit, which is really, really interesting. It's definitely drier than Mel Robbins' stuff, but I think it has actually, it like kind of links together with her concept. These books deal a lot with behavior, the idea that habits are very hard to form and habits are the things that also get us where we want to go. It's almost like you have to hack yourself. And that's really the whole point of New Year's resolutions. I think it's this thing where we want to jumpstart ourselves out of whatever rut we're in. And I think the thinking about your life and your priorities part is really important, but I think we need to do that more often than just at the very end of the year, right? Don't do your homework at the last minute. It just doesn't work. And so I think revisiting goals more often, and again, not believing in fairy tales that we will suddenly have all the willpower in the world. Wow, this is like a really hard video. I feel like a self-help. I'm not trying to do any kind of self-help stuff. It's just been on my mind. So let's not make a bunch of New Year's resolutions. I think it's gonna help us a lot more to focus on one teeny tiny change. Ultimately, I think the true goal is that you never get yourself so frustrated that you give up. Making headway is always better than stopping altogether. And I think really that's what New Year's resolutions end up doing to us, where it's like, you know, that first week you get up and draw every morning, right? If that's your goal, right? You're gonna do an hour of drawing every morning, right? You do all right for the first week, you're feeling great, and then, you know, you go out and party one night and you just can't get up the next morning. You just can't get up. And you know what happens? Suddenly you fell off the train, right? You fell off the train, you fell off the wagon, whatever you want to call it, and you can't get, it's like we just like, well, that's it. Like, I don't have my 100% A+ in life anymore, so I'm gonna give up. Ultimately, we want to be in this moment and we want to be more focused on building than reaching a quota of success. I think that's the first goal, right? The second goal is that I think we need to center our focus. We need to center our focus because if we really want to grow in 2019, what we're going to need is, or whatever year, I don't know when you're watching this could be like year 3025 and all of you are just like spirit vapor watching this video. Whatever year you're coming into, vapor people, we need to focus. And we need to focus because if we splinter ourselves into too many directions, we're not going to build a very good foundation for that change. Sometimes we spread ourselves too thin. So if you make a list of all the perfect attributes you want, basically those attributes are based on behaviors, and behaviors are completely ruled by our habits. Like, we can't really build anything without repetition. What we really need to be doing is exercising our ability to push ourselves, and ultimately we need to prove to ourselves that we can create any kind of change. And I think that's the most important part of this, is that we need to pick that one thing that's gonna be sort of the supporting, it's basically we're giving ourselves a reason to believe in ourselves. I don't even know what I'm really trying to like say. I guess what I'm trying to say and trying to like draw from these sources is that what's really gonna help us is basically proving to ourselves that we can create any kind of modicum of change in our life. And we do that by achieving one small thing. I'm gonna break my rule. We can make one little resolution, and that little resolution, and you're gonna just have to think about it. I'm not saying throw your big goals out of the way. I'm just saying those goals have been around for ages and for years, and you've already cited them. They're already in your head all the time. You already know what you want. Check in with yourself every month on what your priorities are so you do stay on path. But the end of the year is not It is not where you talk about your big goals, because those should already be there. You know, if you have your life together, this isn't the video, and maybe not the channel, and maybe you just shouldn't listen to me. You need to focus on that one tiny thing that's basically going to facilitate everything else, and I really think it's that simple. So the biggest New Year's resolutions tend to be, and we all know them, it's to be fit, to be wealthy, to be successful, to be loved. Honestly, that's it. It's these four things. It's these four things that are just at the base human root of like our ego. And they're not bad, but it kind of focuses on this whole idea of being, right? It's changing our physical form. And in reality, I think what we actually need to focus on is this idea of habits. You want that success because you think that's gonna bring you happiness. Like you think that's gonna like shave away whatever shame or feelings of like inadequacy that you've kind of built up, and it's not gonna do that for you. Humans have a limited capacity for decision making, and so if we are always working on the fly, which is definitely my style of living, it actually just fatigues you, because we need habits to sort of take the burden off of our other decision making skills. You know, if you're finding yourself agonizing over something, or you're paralyzed by not being able to make a move, you know, most likely that is because you've made too many decisions. It just becomes harder. And I think that really comes down to the everyday, the idea that we need to be in the present. And this is not a new idea, but it's this thing where we allow ourselves to do things that aren't immediately tied to our gigantic goals. Because if you only focus on your big goal, then you don't leave time for relationship building or like just joyful moments where your whole identity isn't attached to your work or your body or system of morals that you've maybe built up. So yeah, so I think in terms of goal building, it's more about having your goals. We already know that they're omnipresent, but you need to build up the environment where they can flourish, right? Like if these goals are truly our heart's desires, right? If we truly want to be healthy, if we truly want to, you know, level up in our craft, these are things that are going to blossom naturally out of a nurturing environment. You know, and that is a completely personal aspect of yourself that you really have to be honest to yourself about. For me personally, for me that is definitely basic everyday habits. Like for me, I think my main habit is going to be I will be up at 7:30 in the morning. I will not look at my phone, and I will have a half an hour of meditation or reading a book or just something that activates my brain in the morning in a healthy way. And that's gonna be it. I just wanna be awake at 7:30. That's my one goal for 2019. What year is it? Yeah, that's my one goal for 2019, because I know I'm gonna keep working on those other goals. Like I'm not just gonna stop drawing. I'm not just gonna stop wanting to nurture my body in different ways. But I think this one goal, just sticking to it and incorporating that into my being is something that's going to support everything else. This is like a rambly video. If you're here, like chances are you're good at something. You're doing something right if you are alive right now, right? Like creating the space for that to widen and creating spaces where you believe more in your own ability to do things. Generally, the behaviors or things that we can improve on are the things that we make excuses around. For me, it's definitely like, I don't have time to clean, I have too much work, or it's okay that I am not investing in my friends because I'm just so busy. You know, it's the things that you kind of know you're neglecting. You think you can kind of like get to that big goal faster if you ignore all these smaller things, when in reality the smaller things are the things that are going to propel you with much more joy towards your larger goals. We'll all work on it together. So, goodbye. Let me know what your frustrations are with the end of the year, and tell me sort of your one behavior, no matter how small, you're going to incorporate it. The more boring, the better, to be totally honest, right? Mine's just don't sleep for your whole life. Thank you so much for listening this week. I know it's all over the place. Have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Don't make New Year's resolutions.